done. Here is, as promised, video 2 after the crop. And so this one is going to share with you everything I got done. And I was really impressed with myself because I have heard time and time again from many, many people that you're going to get far less done at these crops than you think you're going to, because you're going to be so busy socializing and chatting and doing other things and shopping and yada, yada, yada. But I will say that for me, I did not find that to be true at all. I actually was really, really productive, and I still had time to chit chat, and I made lots of awesome friends, and I saw, met a viewer, actually the one who had told me about this crop. So thank you, Susan. It was so great to meet you. And anyway, so here I am, and I'm going to share with you what I got done. So I didn't finish this book, but I will share the pages that I got done in it. This is one that I made. I took a class on making this little mini book. And then I think altogether, when I counted these, I think I had 15 layouts. Now keep in mind, this was a longer crop than I think a lot of them are. It started at Thursday around 10. I didn't get there until just after lunch, I think, which was an experience. That's when Tropical Storm Debbie hit our area, and I was literally like unloading my car and trying to bring all my scrapbooking stuff in the pouring rain and wind. I had my wagon like covered in black trash bags, hoping that all of the paper stuff inside was safe. Luckily, I had the kits, so I knew that those were sealed in plastic and that stuff was okay. And everything did end up okay. It was just a little touch and go there. But anyway, sorry. So it started at Thursday, and I had a half the day Thursday. I did drive home every night, and then drive back in the mornings. So unlike somebody who's staying there at the hotel, I did have to factor that in, but it was only a 15-minute drive for me. And then we had all day Friday, all day Saturday, and then on Sunday, we could stay until 3. I did not, because I ran out of tape when I was working in this, and I said, that's it. That's a sign I need to pack up and go. Plus, most of my table mates had already left, and I was kind of scrapping alone, which is not as fun. So anyway, chit-chatted for 2 minutes now. I'm sure you're excited to see what I actually made. So let's just start with this first. Like I said, this was a little class, and do not fault the instructor. She actually had covered her chipboard cover with, you know, paper, and she'd inked the edges and used like this black artist tape, so it looked really professional and cute. I just didn't like the look of all the black. I really tend to like the look of the cardboard, the craft, and so I kept mine like that. I just wanted to share with you, I have done absolutely nothing in here except for glue the pages in, and I did put a pocket in there. Hers was super cute with all these designs and flippy flappies and stuff like that. I have a hard time, as you could probably see, with things like this. I leave them pretty blank, see? Because even though this class came and it told me how to embellish everything, I leave it blank because I just don't know how I'm going to do it, what pictures I want, what size the picture is, what orientation it is, yada, yada, yada. So I tend to leave projects like this pretty blank until I know what I'm putting in it. So that's the same here. But what I thought was cool, I wanted to share, is that each page was made with a CD protector. I don't know if you guys can see in there, but see, they have the flaps that I've tucked in there. So it made like a pocket, but it's like those little plasticky or paper things with the round plastic circle, so you can see the CD that's inside. Those are the pages. So every single one of these is a pocket. I alternated mine so that one pocket goes up to the top and one goes to the side. So this one, you can see, goes to the side. And on that one, I left the flap out because I want to attach something, so this does become a flap. You can do it on the top as well. I think I've done that. I don't know, on another one where you can have the flap there. But I thought that was a really, really neat idea. And she also said that you can do it with regular envelopes as well. You just have to keep in mind where your binding is going to go. She did use a cinch binder to do most people's things. But again, I'm a commitment phobe if I don't know what I'm doing. And so the binder rings made more sense to me because I can rearrange things, add things, and so on and so forth. But yes, this uses that super cute Simple Stories Crafty Things. I think it's called Crafty Things line, which I thought was super fun. And I think what I'm going to do with this is put photos in it from the crop, because it was my first crop and I took a lot of photos and made a lot of friends, and I'm super excited about that. It's a fun class. I will show you this last because that's what I did last. I mostly worked on layouts for the crop. So anyway, 15, and I will show them to you like I always do in order from the first one I made to the last one I made, and you can decide if that matters to you. Just interesting to see what I did first, as opposed to last. But yes, look how many. 15. Okay, so again, first one I made. I had to laugh because the first several that I made used themed papers, and I never do that, never ever, but I did this time. So this was the very first one that I made, and it was really fun to use this like vellum here. I cut it into raindrop shapes. I don't know if you can see, but it is vellum, and I thought it was perfect for these photos and with this background. I'll try not to talk too much because we have a lot to get through. Another themed one with a strawberry paper. This one is really busy. I had to laugh because I felt like both of these were not quite my typical style, and I don't know if I was just nervous and trying to get into the swing of things. I do love the title, of course. It's long, it's mixed fonts, and has a pun in there. So it's just busy. It's busy because, you know, I love my layers, and then this background paper is busy. But I think that this paper helps to kind of tone down the busyness. This is where I started feeling like, oh, this is more like me. What's fun about this is this background paper and then this floral paper. I found on the free table, somebody didn't want them, and I have a second piece, and I was like, ooh, yoink, mine. And I was just so excited to go ahead and use them. And I really like how it turned out. I had to laugh. Oh, and there's this navy tissue paper as the mat, and that actually came in the little gift bag that they gave us. So I was using all sorts of crop things here. This one felt more like me. After these first two, it was like, me. I have to laugh about these photos. It looks like she's biting Willow right here, the kitty cat, but she is not. She just hops up and grooms her, and Willow, who is scared of everything, kind of like freezes and she's petrified, and then she gave me this look afterwards like, Mom, make her stop. What is she doing? Even though Miso's just grooming her. I thought it was funny. Another themed one. Sorry, this is the third one. No, not the third one. Sorry, that one's coming up. Another one that felt very, very much like me. I love the layering in this one. I love the 4 photos, the white space, the border. I use the gold doodly, the gold gel pen to make a doodly border. This is one of my favorites. I just really like the colors in it, and it feels very me. It was to commemorate this coffee shop in Clemens. My daughter had a camp way out there, which is near us, but not so near us that we go there often. And there's this really cute coffee shop called the Be Kind Coffee Co. And we stopped by to check it out. She got a vanilla bean milkshake. She does not drink coffee. And it was really great and really cute. So I wanted to commemorate it. Let's see what we have here. I love this one. I did a lot of more simple layouts where I feel like the paper-wise, like I didn't reinvent the wheel, you know. I really liked this one though. Again, it felt like in a past video I had that kind of like bulletin board effect, and that's what happened here. These things all came from a puffy sticker kit from Notebook, Note Card, it's a newer collection. I'll try and pop it on the screen here and find it for you. And I really like this collection. It's actually where, oh, no, hang on. These letters came from as well. I bought it honestly for these words because I just really like the letters and the fonts and everything like that. So really like that one. Another one here. This is the one that felt more themed because I put the bees in here, the little doodlebug bees that I was thinking about. Another busy one, but I like it. I like that the white serves as the frame this time. It's kind of it's the opposite of like this guy here, but a little more like loose where the paper's scattered. It is another very busy one because the photos themselves are very busy and the layers are busy. It's about the bumblebees in my front little garden. I love seeing them. I love bumblebees. Oh no! So I'll have to glue this back on. it goes right here. This was a grid one. It took forever because it has 1, 2, 3 shaker pockets, because the kits that I had brought had a lot of sequins and I was trying to use some of the sequins. This one was fun because once I had the grid pattern down, I really like that I journaled here. I don't usually do that. And then I used a doodly border to kind of continue around it, and it kind of brings it in, but then I have some things that do break the plane. And I really, really like the way that that turned out. It was it took forever. It really did take forever to make the shaker pockets and organize everything, and then to figure out how to embellish it without going too much overboard. So I did some tone on tone kind of things here and there. So I'll have to glue that back on. I had to laugh because I cut out of this paper here so I could have some, I think it was the yellow paper here. So just some behind the scenes. So I did cut these out because I knew, sorry, I'd be covering this section with this pattern. So this one as well was a bit of a stretch for me because I don't usually use this many sequins on there. But the ladies I was with said, when in doubt, of course you do sequins. This was the one DIY embellishment that I did use. Not my typical color palette. Oh, I need to trim that. But I like how it turned out overall. It has just a little bit of blues in this paper, and then in the sequins to bring in the blue of our outfits and the beach. Just enough that it makes it cohesive. Mostly I wanted to use this die cut. This is Hello Summer Days is the title, and so that kind of drove the color palette here. Okay, this one I struggled with, so I also did this. I did not bring any mixed media stuff because I didn't want to make a mess. So this one I did put notes on them to remind myself what I wanted to do when I got home. So I will put some white splatter around this one, and I think it'll really bring it together. But this was a simple one. This was one of those border strips, the 12-inch ones that you get on the bottom of those big sheets, and I just ripped it 4 times. We'll cut it so that I could get some clean lines, but then ripped it, and then I used them to come out, and I like the way that looked. This was a bit of a tricky one to figure out how to make sure that this title stood out, because I like the color of this and how it goes with this background color, but it didn't stand out enough by itself. So I had to like make a very extra long label. You can see that I kind of put 2 of them together right there. And then this needed to sit on top of it, and I cheated a little bit in this hole here and this hole here to put the white behind it because it was kind of distracting to see the orange background. But this was a pretty simple one. It's very minimally embellished. But I like that one. This was the next day. I finished this one the next day and then started on this one. See, I want to put some black splatters up here. I love the layering on this one. This one was very travel heavy because I dug into the Adventure Awaits kit and the travel add-on that I had to do these because I knew that I'd have some photos of traveling. So I really like how this one turned out. It's fairly simple with the beige and gold and then the aqua, but it worked really well. I used some thickers in here, staples. The layering, happy with the layering. There we go. Another travel one. So this one was a challenge that I had done for the Creative Memories consultant who was there. And Creative Memories is, if you're not aware, they're a direct sales scrapbooking company, much like Close to My Heart and Stampin' Up! And stuff. And they cater very much to people who I think aren't probably as comfortable just starting with a blank page and going, which is amazing. And a lot of people do that. There were a ton of people at this crop who do that and prefer that look. But their look, what I'm getting at is their look is very regimented. They put a lot of photos on a page, not just 1 or 2. They'll put like 4 or more sometimes on a page, and large photos, like 4x6s. And they're very like photo, 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 photo. And each photo has a little mat around it. It's not the way I normally scrap. And so I really tried to take inspiration. Hang on, let me find you the actual sketch so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, so this was the gift that the Creative Memories consultant gave us, and it was a bunch of sketches in here. And like, so this is what I'm meaning by they're very regimented, like grid-like. They don't do a lot of layering. They don't do a lot of like wonky off-kilter things, which I clearly like. This is my style. Lots of layers, lots of like wonky angles and stuff like that. And so the challenge was to pick one of the sketches in here and make a layout using it. And if you did, your name would get entered to win. My name actually did get pulled for this, so it was worth doing it for me. I won a paper pack. But this is the sketch that I ended up using, if you can see my inspiration. So I don't use 4 photos. But I was kind of looking at this one right here and working from there. So instead of 2 4x6 photos, I used this 4x6 strip. And here is this 4x6 photo, but I did kind of overlap it and angle it a little bit. The title is right here, and I kept my title here. And instead of a 4x4 photo, I put this cluster here instead. So it's not quite the same. I did have, see, embellishment cluster. I didn't put one there. But I used it, and you can see that they put the borders here in this version of it, and I used that here for this inspiration. So not my style, but I was still able to use this sketch and kind of use it in my style, which I was very happy with. So I quite like how this one turned out. Here's another travel one. So my son has never flown before this summer. This was his very first flight ever. And so of course I took pictures of him and his face as we went up, because he's terrified of heights, sweet thing. And he was so scared to take this flight, and he was so brave. I was very proud of him. And in the end, like, he told me, he was like, oh, I'm not afraid to fly anymore. So I'm glad that he did that. I'm glad that we captured this. This one was a bit of a struggle because I really like this stripe. But then I was like, what do I do? Because, you know, you don't want to make it, he doesn't care about pink. He doesn't think it's girly. We've had that discussion, but I also didn't want to pink this up. It just didn't feel right. To me, travel felt more, it just felt better with the red and the blues. And so I brought in a lot of reds and blues and blacks, and I really like how it ended up turning out. It took a while to kind of find the right mix of papers and layers here, but in the end, I really like it. I love this vellum piece. You know, gotta disguise your adhesive back there. And I brought the brown throughout here, and a little bit of beige there, just to kind of give it some depth. And you know, I love my alliteration and long titles. This one is really fun too. So at this point I was like, I need to do some photos of my son, because I always do a lot of my daughter. And this one was another one. These shaker pockets. These are actually from close to my heart, which RIP, they're no longer in business, unfortunately, but we did have a consultant there, and it was her last show that she was doing, actually. And they had these shaker pockets that I think they meant them for cards, but I grabbed these and I grabbed some heart ones because shaker pockets can be annoying to make, and I wanted to try them out. So another one where I think it actually works really well. It's a really crazy mix of colors. I kind of based it on this stripy paper here, but pulled in a lot of the yellows because it was about him seeing the eclipse, like going outside with the eclipse. He had yellow in his shirt. And I had found this in a Citrus Twist kit die cuts, and I thought it matched really well with his shirt here. It's not an exact match, but we have this yellow, which matches this yellow, and then the aqua E, which is like his shirt. So we kind of built from there, and I found things. These are from Vicki Boutin's Bold and Bright collection. This blue worked really well, and I brought it in throughout because it works with this blue here. So somehow I pulled it together, and I really like how this one turned out, but I have to tell you, I was not sure, like, the entire time I was doing it, if it was gonna work. So, oh, I need to journal on this one. I don't want to forget that, because I'm not gonna remember. I need to put the date on it, and that it was the eclipse. Another one of my son. This one I was struggling with. I didn't know what to do. I had kind of hit a wall toward the end of the day, and I was trying to do this thing where it was like the photo and then paper and like kind of like a off grid with like white spots, like white space around all the pieces and it just wasn't working. So I dug in and I found this paper, and I really like the way this wood grain plays against his pants here. And then this was actually the backside of the wood grain. And even though it's kind of fallish, it all works together. The colors, we have these muted like mustardy and aqua teal, and then the green. So the green here brings in the green here. And I really like it. I did, again, keep this pretty simple. We balanced it out as far as embellishments go. In the end, I really like it. It just took a while to get there. Okay, last two coming up. So this one I have a lot of faces covered because I don't have their permission. But I've told you guys about my mixed media class that I have taken, and I've taken it 3 times at this point. I'm going to try and take it again in the fall if I can weasel my way into it, because it overlaps with some of my official classes. And at first they had told me that I couldn't do it, and then somebody else told me that I could. So we'll see. Anyway, so this is to commemorate my the people in this last mixed media class that I had. It was a lot bigger than the other mixed media classes I've taken, and we did have some repeat people in here that I've taken class with before, and we formed this really close, fun group, all ages, and everybody is just so kind and willing to share and share knowledge and fun things that we find, and to support one another. And we had some photos. I unfortunately wasn't here, but at the end of the class we always had gone out to eat at a local restaurant, and I was at the beach during this, but somebody took photos and shared them with the group. So I wanted to, you know, capture these people that have been such a great support system and friends of mine. And so that's what this one came together really quickly because it was mostly photos and a title. Under here is just journaling with everybody's names. That's why I have that covered. But I really like the background and how it supports the whole story, you know, art, mixed media and stuff. And then the very last one that I did, I had actually done this layering earlier in the week, or earlier in the retreat, and it just sat there because I wasn't sure what photo I wanted to put there, but I wanted to gut this because I love this paper, this one right here. So I gutted it, but because I really liked this side as well, but it's one of those things that's so busy that it really works to be more of a frame. And so the frame sat there, and then it just seemed to work with this photo of Miso, because she's brown, this is brown, and there's a lot of pink showing. So it kind of worked. And then I love this one. It's simple. I love that I got to use this right here. This is from Vicki Boutin's Bright and Bold as well, because I can never use these weird, like, I think there's a unicorn in there that I don't think I'll ever use. There's a dog as well. But it just worked because she looks like she's saying, hey there. And I love these letters that I brought. They work because the Vicki Boutin collection, while it is a gold, iridescent gold, this is like a silvery iridescent. It all kind of works together. I really like that one. It was a good one to end on. So anyway, that's my 15 layouts that I made. Woo! And then, last but not least, after that, I was ready to kind of move on to something a little different. And that's why I had brought this book I had explained. And I did print out photos ahead of time, so I didn't have to fuss with that, because that's the part that stresses me out the most about working with mini books like this, is picking the photos and figuring out where they're going to fit with what's already assembled. Like, I have a space for a 4x6 picture here because I like to go chronologically. And so I have to kind of finagle, like, what's going to work, what's not. Anyway, let me cover faces in here before we move on. Okay, faces covered, just to protect people who did not consent to this. So I'm not 100% done with this. In the book, she had tied a ribbon here, and I really like the look of that, so I'll probably do that as well. So if you didn't see the first one, this is a mini book class that I took from Crop and Create, delivered one of them, I can't remember which one, with Jana Eubank, with this collection, a Simple Stories collection, and it is wonderful. But the class meant that she kind of walked us through doing all this stuff with the pocket. So I had to figure out what am I going to fit where, what am I going to cover, how many photos do I have space for, that kind of thing. So, but the embellishment is, I followed hers a little bit because like she did this on hers and had this, but these were from a different collection she did have. So I kind of mixed and matched. This was totally me, things like that. So keep that in mind. So here we just have this photo of my son. I had this in there. It was one that was like, I don't know what to do with this card, but I was like, well, you know, it's kind of like an introduction. This is the beginning of our summer because I'm using this to capture this summer because it's been such a busy summer for us with lots of things going on. And so that's kind of where I went with this, is to explain where we are at the beginning. And then this, she did this, which I thought was super cute. It's basically from one of those 4x6 cut apart sheets, and she kept 2 of them together as a 4x6, but then folded it. So you get the background. You probably can't see it around there, but there's a background paper. And then it makes this little tiny mini book, which I thought was super cute. In case you're wondering why my son is wet and holding up a 2, this was his soccer tournament. They ended up losing in the very final game of the bracket, and they got 2nd place, and he was thrilled to get 2nd place because they've not ever placed that high before, so that was exciting. Let's see, this one I had completely covered up because she had something in here that I taped it together so it wouldn't come apart, but it was like one of those 6x8 pages from the Simple Stories 6x8 paper packs, you know, where they have like a focal image on it or something like that, and it just didn't work for what I was doing, so I made my own here, and it was another good way to kind of introduce this whole book. So cute. This one, I think I taped down this photo so it wouldn't move, but this you can pull out, and I had written in here, inside here, about my pink hair because that happened this summer. This one said this will be a year to remember. I covered up year and just put summer. I think it works pretty well. We just talked about Ian's first flight. And then she like has things in here like this that she made out of paper, and it's like a pocket. So inside the pocket, we have more photos. So that's my mom and my daughter and I love these photos of us because at the wedding, we didn't know my mom had a dress this color, and my daughter and I wore this, so it was kind of a happy accident. We had to commemorate it in there, and I believe that's what I wrote in here. Let's see. Nope, this is about Ian and I on a flight. So we kind of went from flight to now we've moved on to the wedding. We did fly up there for a wedding. So again, you can see it from this side, and we have more of these in here. Cute. And see, I'm very minimally embellishing things. Another one of those little books. And then this is a back-to-back photo. I just kind of did that sometimes when I had extra photos that I wanted to put in there. They're 3x4, and I just used score tape to adhere them together. My husband, so I added this note on here because I do want to go back through and add more specific dates on things so we know, like, remember when the wedding was and things like that. But at that point, I didn't want to get my date stamp out, and I might do more embellishment after I'm done, but for now, I just did what I did. So this was a cute one. It's a big pocket, so it has a pocket here with photos. So we went out on the lake. Ian played soccer with his cousins. We had a picture of the cousins all together. It's such a good photo. I wish I could show you guys the faces, but my cousin's wife took that photo and shared it with me. And then there's a pocket here as well. So Layla, that's my parents' dog, Sam. He adores Layla. So this one, I don't have anything on the back. I could if I want to later. I don't have to. And then this one, my husband took this photo of my son and I. We were looking at the ducks on the lake. This is like my favorite place in the whole wide world. Okay. And then, yes, on the back, so this was at my aunt and uncle's house. We took a group photo. So these are people that I have not seen since before the pandemic hit. The last time we were up there was 2019. So this was such a good trip to have. Let's see. And then this side, so this is my aunt and uncle's house as well. They have a fire pit on the lake. It's lovely. And now we've moved on. So this is us flying home, and I had a little story about how many issues we had flying home. We actually ended up getting home a day later than normal, stuck in Newark. You can see how tired my face is as I was waiting for my supper that night. And then I had these photos of Layla and her friend for 4th of July, super cute photos. Didn't need a lot of journaling there. We have another pocket here, but these go with over here. So now this is when we went to Florida to visit my parents. So another pocket picture of my dad teaching the kids how to build a fire, and a little bit about going to Florida. So I really like doing this too. These are glued in, but they kind of stick out a little bit out of the pocket. That's really fun. This collection, I'm sorry if you guys have been dealing with the glare. I've not been looking. I apologize. But this collection that she made this whole book out of had a lot of these like office supplies, and this story is more about traveling and summer and vacation, so I don't have a lot of use for them. But on this, where Layla and I were doing art by the pool, I was like, yes, use all the art supplies here. My son went to a camp near us, an art camp, and then this is where I stopped. So I made it all the way up to here. I did that much of the book. I have more photos in here for when we went to the beach that I have not done yet. I didn't get to that yet. And then I've saved the rest of this for, I'm going to put something in there about the retreat I just went to, as well as my upcoming trip to New York with my son. So that's what I got done. I think I got a ton done. But that's that. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. I'd love to hear them. And hopefully I will be seeing you again soon. Keep in mind I'm starting school, so I'm going to have to kind of see how this goes and trying to finagle YouTube and everything at the same time. But hopefully I'll see you soon. Bye.